Hey guys, in this video, I'm going to be teaching you how you can use ChatGPT to learn English grammar. You may have seen my other videos about how we can use ChatGPT to get feedback and write emails and learn new words, but how can we actually learn grammar with ChatGPT? Well, that's what we're going to be talking about in this video. If you haven't already done so, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe. If you have any questions throughout, leave them in the comments. Also, you can grab a free course, Natural English Conversations, in the links in the description. Now let's get into it. ChatGPT is very useful for a lot of things, including improving your English. And you may have seen some of my other videos on the topic. I've talked about emails, using it as a general sort of English feedback teacher type role, right? And I think one thing is important to note about ChatGPT. It's not perfect. And currently, at least, it's not always 100% accurate. But the same thing can be said for Wikipedia. I remember when Wikipedia first came out, university professors, they would all say, just completely disregard it, don't even look at it. But over time, they started to sort of change their attitude in general. And now, a lot of people take Wikipedia very seriously, but still, there are inaccuracies. There are things that are not right. But that doesn't mean that then we should totally ignore it. So I think the same thing applies to ChatGPT and all of the AI tools that are coming out. Are they all perfect? No. Are they always correct? No. Are they useful? Yes, in the same way that Wikipedia is. So you use it for what it's good at with the knowledge that it may not be perfect. So then you need to make sure that you're supplementing that or doing more research, right? So what we're going to do today is we're going to look at a sentence or two, and, well, let's say one sentence, and we're going to try to understand it grammatically. Now, this is kind of a hardcore learning method here, what we're going to look at. This is when we want to understand the grammatical pieces that make up a sentence or a paragraph so that we can then maybe go look up all of those things or ask further questions. So here's what we're going to do. I'm going to give ChatGPT a prompt. The prompt is going to be, give me a full grammatical breakdown following the sentence, including the overall structure. So I want to know what makes up this sentence completely. And then I may ask follow-up questions to more deeply understand. I'm not saying it's super important to know the names of grammar, right? In fact, that can mislead you. It's more important to understand how it all fits together and gain an intuition of English grammar. But it can be useful to break apart sentences and do further digging, further research in order to, really deeply understand and analyze grammar. So it can be very useful, it may not always be useful, it may not be super intuitive, but let's give it a try, all right? So I'm going to copy this prompt here, and then I'm going to copy in a sentence. And the sentence, I just pulled it from somewhere, from something else. Anyway, the sentence is, Luke needs to find out, from the department of the bursar at the university he's about to attend, how he can get the scholarship money that he has qualified for. All right, so we have the example, and we have the prompt. So let's see what we get here. Something went wrong. All right, great. I'm going to copy this to make sure I have it. And let's hit refresh here. Let's hit refresh. Here we go. Let's give it another go. It's not letting me choose GPT-4. GPT-4 works pretty well, but it's not nearly as fast. Anyway, let's see here. Here we go. Overall structure, complex sentence. Subordinate clause or dependent clause. Those are the same thing, by the way. Main clause and independent clause. So Luke needs to find out from the department of the bursar at the university he's about to attend. That is the dependent clause. What does that mean? Well, we could dive into that and find out that what that means is it is not able to stand by itself as a complete sentence, whereas an independent clause or a main clause can. So if you have an independent clause or a main clause, that means you could just say end, and it's a sentence. How he can get the scholarship money that he has qualified for. So if we make a change there, it could be an independent clause, but I'm not quite sure if that would be quite independent. But all right, let's see what else we get here. Full grammatical breakdown. Subjects, Luke, verbs, needs to find out how he can get. Okay. Objects, the scholarship money. So get the scholarship money. Okay, that makes sense. Compliments, from the department of the bursar at the university he's about to attend and that he is qualified for. So the difference between an object and a complement is that a complement is usually related to, well, if it's a subject complement, it's related to the subject, but it may not be an object of the verb, right? Like, for example, you could say, I am hungry, or I am a dentist, and being a dentist is not the object of the verb exactly, because am is just stating the condition, right? So it's called a complement rather than the object. A modifier will tell you something more about another word or phrase. So a modifier is preposition to indicating the university he's about to attend, and relative pronoun that introducing the adjective clause that he has qualified for. So a relative pronoun is one that adds information or is the beginning of adding information. Okay, so we've got a bit of a breakdown. Here's what I think so far on this one is that this one just it's saying it is, right? But the how thing messes it up. He can get the scholarship money that he has qualified for. That would be a main clause. That would be an independent clause. But not with the how there. So anyway, I'm just curious. Let's see what happens if we do a regenerate again, and let's see if we get the same response. The sentence is a complex sentence consisting of independent clause and dependent clause. Okay, so it looks different with this one. Let's see if it's better or worse. Luke, proper noun, subject of the sentence. Needs, verb, present tense, agrees with the subject Luke. Yes, very good. Oh, this is actually better, I think. To find out, infinitive phrase functions as the verb complement and describes the action that Luke needs to do. How? Subordinated conjunction. Introduces the dependent clause. Okay, he, pronoun, subject of the dependent clause. Can get, verb phrase. Okay, future modal can and the main verb get. This is actually a lot better. He's about to attend. Relative clause modifies the noun university, specifies which university Luke is referring to. Is that even right? I would have to think about that. Is that right? Oh, yeah, that is right. Because there's an implied that there. You would say that he's about to attend. Yeah, that's correct. That is a relative clause. So relative clause adds information to something, and in this case, adding information to the noun university and specifies which university Luke is referring to. So that's actually very good. So I think actually the first one, the breakdown was okay, but it was kind of just labeling things. This one is giving me the labels, but giving it to me by word or by, let's say, by phrase. And I think that is more useful and a little bit more interesting. Yeah, absolutely. From the department of the bursar, prepositional phrase describes the location where Luke needs to obtain the information from. Also makes sense. A prepositional phrase starts with a preposition and gives you something about where it is, the position. Well, as it says, describes the location where Luke needs to obtain the information from. So I think this second response could be a useful way to then start diving into each of these if you want to understand them and learn more about them and practice your own patterns, and could be a good starting point. Again, not the final answer, not the ultimate source of knowledge, not always perfect, as we saw with the independent clause in the first response. But a really interesting starting point. Now, what if I have some questions about these? What if I say, okay, can you explain what a coordinating conjunction is and give me some examples? All right, let's see what we get here. So now I start diving into these a little bit further in a bit more depth, and let's see what we get here. Come on, GPT, you can do it. Here we go. Yes, of course. A coordinating conjunction is a type of conjunction that connects two or more words, phrases, or clauses that are grammatically equal or of the same type. It's called coordinating because it coordinates or combines two or more elements of equal importance in a sentence. Coordinating conjunctions are usually used to join words, phrases, or clauses that have similar grammatical... Why are you repeating yourself so much? ChatGPT, I got it the first time. 4, used to indicate a reason or explanation. John couldn't come to the party for he had to work late. Well, that's very old-fashioned and formal. And used to add more information or to connect similar ideas. I love reading books and watching movies. Nor used to connect two negative ideas. He neither reads nor writes English, but used to introduce a contrast or exception. She is smart, but she can be lazy sometimes. Or used to present alternatives or choices. Example, you can have tea or coffee. Is that one really offering to equal? I suppose so. Yeah, I suppose so. I mean, or is a coordinating conjunction, but there it's used more in its list function, right? Because if we had 3 things, it would be you can have tea, orange juice, or coffee. And in that case, I'm not sure if that's setting them up as, what did it call them above? Grammatically equal, because there we're just sort of creating a list of 3 things and giving different alternatives. Anyway, I think it's a pretty good, again, a good starting point and a good way to understand more about that specific thing. So then you could dive into each one of those. Always ask for examples and always, do your own research separately. Use it as a jumping off point. Dig deeper. Don't just say, okay, now I understand 100%. Use it as sort of a, that's useful. I understand more about it. That helps me see the bigger picture. That helps me gain a deeper understanding, right? But then, always in the back of your mind, just like when you read a Wikipedia page, say to yourself, nobody's always perfect, right? Nothing's perfect. But things don't have to be perfect all the time to be useful, right? So try this out. Let me know if you can get the same type of response. Like I did, you might need to hit regenerate once or twice, or try rephrasing it. And if you do, let me know if you can come up with an even better prompt that gets even better results, okay? If you haven't already done so, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe. Also, you can get a free course, Natural English Conversations, in the links in the description.